Okay. I'm still waiting for people to come on. I'm a minute early just in case anybody shows up. It's weird. This lighting that I have, it's having an interesting effect on the video. It's making everything look yellow, which is kind of creepy. But I'm not complaining. I like creepy. So wait a few minutes to see if anybody shows up. Earlier today, around 9:30 Central Standard Time, I kind of put the post out that I was going to be on for a little while today. Looks like we have one person, so welcome, stranger. So going to be talking about a little bit today. Um, I know that we are entering the Christmas, or should I say, the holiday season, Christmas, New Year's, and all that sort of things. I know Christmas, it's for quite a while has been very consumer based, consumer oriented, where people feel like that they have to buy presents for other people, and the toy industry and the card industry have made a lot of money with this particular tradition. They even pushed it through commercials and all of that. So let's um, try to capture the good feelings associated with the holiday season and all of the those virtues, um, apart from what you get under the tree. So it's always nice to get cool things, but it's even better to have that connection to the holiday season and the spirit with which it ultimately is, is consists of. Speaking of that, my dog Freya, she has shown up on a couple of the videos in the past. She is a Keysond, and her mom bought her a red Christmas dress last year, and she looked cute. I took pictures, put it on Facebook and everything, and I tried it on her yesterday, and she got a look on her face because it was obviously too tight, and I was like, "Baby girl, you're now an XL." So she wasn't very happy. So I actually went to PetSmart today and found a little Santa costume for her, which was the right size. So, hey there. I'm just chatting. We haven't really gotten into the material yet. Did you say? Oh, I was talking about going to the pet store and buying my dog a Santa outfit. And they actually had dogs and their owners getting their pets. What is the stream about? The stream is about what it always is. What I do is I start and kind of just make small talk when people start to show up. Okay, I got 6 now, so 10. Okay. So what I typically do, if you're new to this channel, is that I'll go and talk about some things, review some past videos, and let people answer questions. So that's the long and short of it. So now that I've gotten some people here, I'll kind of move on. Okay, so um, this was actually leading somewhere. Okay, so I was about to talk about the I mix my M&Ms with Skittles, changed my mind. Yeah, I was talking about the holiday season, and now we are approaching some things that are kind of on the edge of, I guess, paranormal occult, neo paganism. So we are entering. There's Christmas, there is the secular holiday, and then there is Yule. So we are entering Yule, which is around the 21st, so the beginning of winter. That is basically it's the longest night of the year. It is kind of from Halloween, secular, Samhain, all the way up until Yule. That is where the time where things start to get cooler. Things start to get still. It's kind of a time to go ahead and reflect and to kind of think about what's the possibilities of the upcoming year. Now, Samhain, the 31st, is actually the beginning of the Celtic. It's the ending and beginning of the Celtic New Year. So that is why that happens. So Yule is with the Celtic tradition. It is with their mythology, the Oak King turning into the Holly King, and all of that. It's really a time to just trying to chill out, and I know we don't get a chance to do that with, a lot of our fast-paced societies around the world, especially, in the United States. Don't be a schizophrenic and go to a cemetery, best advice from my friends. Yeah. So, okay, we got 2 people on here now. Alright, so, what I'm thinking about doing, like I said, was talking a little bit about, the past videos. Before I begin, kind of want to let y'all know that if you're interested, because some people are, I just put an attunement into my Etsy attunement store. So I put in Kumiel for those of you who are interested in angels. Kumiel is an angel that is responsible for personal rejuvenation, specifically mental rejuvenation. So if you are someone who's just been feeling mentally exhausted, maybe you're a student or have a job where that is a part of your life, then feel free to check that out. That's one of his things. Also, if there is a communication problem that is a part of a relationship, it doesn't matter what type of relationship, where you're just like tired of explaining yourself, talking, you're not getting anywhere, and that can help with that too. So I'll put a link in the description for those people who are interested in the attunements, those spiritual connections to spirits. Um, the first video I want to mention that I talked about recently, in between the last YouTube Live and this YouTube Live, was the magical protection video. Now, I haven't really done a lot of videos on magical protection. There just seems to be a lot of material out there. And at the same time, there are so many people that are trying to navigate this world with all of its adversity. And it isn't just adversity from things like spirits of all different kinds, whether that be the environmental spirits or spirits of the departed or other types of things. Just the general negativity that is part of, uh, being around other people who don't have your best intentions at heart. Some people who will go out of their way to make your life miserable. And at the same time, here you are having to face it and deal with it. So I talked a little bit about the different types of, I guess, attacks might not be the right word, but let's say negative influences that can affect you. I talked a little bit about the parasitic entities, which I probably have 3 or 4 videos on that stand alone with that topic. And they're basically low-level entities that will latch onto your aura and your chakras and extract energy, the vital energy that you have. Think of it like I'm live in the South, so I'm familiar with mosquitoes. Some of you may be in places where that's a factor. So they extract blood. So instead of extracting physical blood, these entities will extract vital energy. out of your system. And so they can make you more tired than you would normally be. They love to latch on to people who are struggling in some way, like let's say mental health conditions or addiction problems, all those sorts of things they like to latch onto. They like to latch onto vulnerability. So that's basically what a parasitic entity is. They're very annoying. Most of the time, they don't cause any real damage rather than just being an annoyance, as being background noise, being the just something you don't really want to deal with. But isn't like it's a full scale curse or something that somebody or a group of people have put on you. So it isn't that serious a lot of times. Then there's the environmental spirits, which might be spirits that are in your neighborhood or attached to the land. You hear, for example, if you've ever seen, I'll give you a kind of a classic example. Have you ever seen the movie Poltergeist, where the family lives on top of the graveyard? That would be an offense to possibly to those spirits that were living there, who consider that their territory, their home, and might cause some type of problems. Of course, that's a horror movie, and that's certainly exaggerated. But you know, things could you can might run into a string of bad luck, not know where it's coming from, and that could be a possible influence a factor. Another one, is just like the thoughts and intentions of others. Like I said, people who are creating thought forms most of the time unintentionally. They don't like you. You can feel that, and I think that's more kind of like another type of a annoying type of situation where you probably would get some low level things happening, but it isn't anything big. It's gonna wreck your life. So then I talk about, what do you do about it? With environmental spirits, a lot of times you can give them offerings to appease them, try to make friends, as long as they know that you don't have any bad intentions and that you recognize them, acknowledge them, and that you show that you're trying to give something. It's almost like spiritual reciprocity. Even with humans or in spirits, it's always good to give something to get something. As far as the parasitic entities, if you're worried about that, spiritual baths are really good. High vibrational energy. There is violet flame. If you're not sure what that is, violet flame is a high vibrational energy that you can kind of call upon, and it will expel things that aren't in alignment with it. So that's one thing. Another thing, like I said, spiritual baths. If you have a strong team, and what I mean by team is a group of spirit guides that are on your side that are trying to help you and protect you, you can get one or more of them to extract the entity, because you don't always know when they're there, but once that you know that they're there, you have free will and spiritual authority, so you can expel them or ask one of your guides to do it, but it's like they need your permission to do that. There is free will in the universe, just like in all aspects of the universe, even on Earth. The second thing I talked about another video was Dick Sutphin, and you're like, who the hell is Dick Sutphin? Well, Dick Sutphin was kind of a pioneer, and this is part of I think my Faces of the Occult videos. I like to talk about sometimes specific people that have made contributions to the paranormal and the occult field, and not a lot of people know who this is, but he is one of the pioneers who've used hypnosis to collect information from past lives, if that's something that you believe in. He was on the cutting edge of past life regression, developing that. He wrote a lot of books, 20, 30 books, I want to say. If you're into, and you do an awesome. Yeah, I offer consultations sometimes. I'm gonna, you can send me an email. Tell you what, after this video, I'm gonna give you some contact information at the bottom, like of the video, so you can go check it out, and you can email me, tell me what you're looking for, and we'll see what we can work out. So he was also into. Okay, so if you're talking about past life existences, he uses past life regression. Then you're going to run up against things like small soulmates, twin souls, and all these types of ideas. So he started writing about this way before a lot of this became popular. So he was talking about this in like the 70s and the 80s. So he was, like I said, he knew a lot about this, and he wrote books. He offered audio products. I think he created like 500 different ones. And he was just right in the middle of everything when everything was kind of getting started. He wrote material on connecting with your guides. He would have an audio program where he would use hypnosis to help you contact your guides, or developing psychic abilities. He was doing it back in the day when cassette tapes were just getting started. That's how long ago this was. I remember when I was little getting some of his tapes. Also, if you all have heard of Sedona, Arizona, it's where a lot of people go for vacation or retreats. It's an artist colony. It also has a very big metaphysical community. He got Sedona on the map back in the early 80s. He did a lot of research and wrote about these different, I guess you can call them psychic energy vortexes, where the Earth was emitting this, and some people say it's electromagnetic, it's along ley lines, fault lines, all this type of stuff, but where basically the energy is different, and you can go there and meditate and have different experiences in Sedona, and he kind of talked a lot about that. So when you hear about someone doing some classes in Sedona about channeling or guides or all this other type of stuff, he's also the one who got a lot of that started. You can find a lot of his material on the internet, and he's got plenty of videos on YouTube. He has since passed away. I want to say maybe 10 years ago. But I think if you looked up the channel, the Sutphen family, that's Sutphen family, you can probably find a lot of his stuff. All right, I got 3 people. Next video. So now this is near and dear to my heart. I did a video on Carl Jung. If you don't know who Carl Jung was, he was a student of Sigmund Freud, and you probably recognize Freud from an intro to psychology class or maybe high school, who was the father of psychoanalysis. He believed in the unconscious mind, that a lot of times our behaviors and even our thoughts are driven by things that are deep within us. things we're not always aware of. And when we are aware of some things, there's usually more there. So that was Freud. And Jung was a student who took some of his ideas and some of them he said, I don't know about that Oedipus complex. I don't know if little boys really long for their mothers and little girls long for their fathers um, in intimate ways. But what he did do is, well, he was actually one of the earlier developers or his work on the lie detection test. So that's pretty cool. But when we're getting where since this channel's about the occult and the paranormal, he and this was this was going to be like the early 20th century. So this is like somewhere between like 1920 and maybe 1950. He did a lot of work integrating and using different things that we take for granted, and he would use them with his clients back then for his psychotherapy and for his research. He was born into a family where his mother and his niece were mediums. They were spiritualists. Spiritualism was really big in the late 1800s and the early 1900s, and then eventually it's still around, but it declined somewhat after that. But he had family that was part of this tradition, and they would just kind of talk to spirits when he was a little boy and things like that. So he grew up with, and his father was a pastor. So he grew up with this jumbling of religion and the paranormal, and he got interested in psychology and medicine, became a psychiatrist, and he started to kind of try to come up with a comprehensive idea of where all these things fit and what might be psychological explanations for it, and not necessarily to dismiss them psychologically, but to see how it might fit in they both can fit in the grand scheme of things. So he wrote books, and when I'm saying a lot of books, you probably could find at least 60 easily. He wrote about UFOs. He wrote about um, when I was talking about the spiritualism and talking to spirits. He would use different things to he would stand on his head if he felt like it would help his clients. He would use the I Ching, the Chinese divination. He worked with tarot if he needed to, and even uh, did things like astrology. So he was such a genius and learned man that he would study these things and become experts at them, and then use them to try to help people, try to help him understand himself as his own personal psychology and also how to help other people. But how Jung and Freud got into this was that Freud was very much a determinist, so he believed in just cold hard science of what, at least science of what they knew at that time. And Jung, while he did believe in science, his mind was open to other things, and they got into big disagreements about this, and it was one of the factors that led to the dissolution of their friendship. And I think lastly, I did a book review of, let's see if I can get this up, The Greater Words of Power by Damon Brand. I like to do book reviews, and they seem to be something that people want to see because people don't always want to invest in their money into a book that they don't know anything about. They don't know anybody who read it, and not mention their money, but also their time. You know. So, The Greater Words of Power are part of the Gallery of Magic series of books. Damon Brand, he's published more out of that series, collections of books, than any of the others. And what The Greater Words of Power is, and I'll show you a page. So there would be the Hebrew going across the page and a description like this is mental focus, talking about what you can do. And it's not anything elaborate. You don't have any materia that you have to buy, no candles, incense, oils, or anything like that. What you're doing is that this Hebrew and these symbols and these chants are conjuring what you need, the power, in order to make these particular effects. So that one was on mental focus. What I like about this book is that it focuses on real world practical things that you and I might need. Um, who hasn't had an experience where they were tired and they needed more mental focus to function? There's a page on there on what to sleep better. Everybody has had times when they can't sleep. As you get older, it gets harder, I can tell you. Uh, or, overcoming anxiety. There's one on how to boost your mood. All these sorts of things that, you know, are things we're probably going to come across in this life at some point. So I like that it has real world applications, like you said. And a lot of the books, if you're not somebody who knows how to say the Hebrew, they spell it out phonetically so that you can say it and feel comfortable and even learn how to say it in Hebrew in case you wanted to do that in the future. So things like increase self-confidence, increase energy levels, overcome bitterness, jealousy, and hatred. And you would do this, and it only takes a couple minutes at the most to go through one of these. Oops, phone's falling. There we go. It only takes a few minutes to go through these, and once you do it, you can move on to the next part of your day, and you do it, a certain in successive days, maybe three times, and that's that. So I've worked with this book, and it I can't say anything really bad about it. I've gotten some real effects from it. Part of the thing that talks about boosting your mood or your anxiety is that the magic, and I think in one of the pages it describes it, it says that sometimes our minds can get tangled up in itself, and what it does is it helps it untangle so that everything is flowing free. Your energy, your capabilities, your faculties are all unimpeded. But we all know that it can get like this. You start thinking too much, you start questioning yourself, thoughts of self-doubt or something like that. All of that can cause rituals say, can you do in a day? How many rituals can you do in a day? That's a good question. They do not go out and forbid anybody from doing all the ones that you do in a day. I would start out, if this was something you wanted to, a book that you wanted to buy, that you go ahead and do two or three in a day to see how it works out. Because all of this is going to shift you in certain ways, even if it's subtle, small shifts. If you do, 25, let's say, small shifts in a day, those 25 could add up to big shifts. So you might want to work your way up to that. But as far as I know, there aren't any limits to what you can do. It's just what you can handle. All right, folks. Did y'all have any more questions? That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. I'm a little bit limited on my time. I know that I've been away for a few weeks. My life itself has taken some interesting turns, but I'm trying to get back to doing more videos. Well, okay. Well, I appreciate all of you for showing up, being with me, and for your attention. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.